I mean, you got to be loving what you're doing because you're working full time Bel Air Police Department, and then you're tacking on even more hours down at Ocean City.
Yeah, I 0 days off since Memorial Day.
Wow.
So it's either back and forth, 2.5 hour ride. And then I use all my vacation time. I'm not off.
Okay.
I don't work for the school system.
Yep.
I am every vacation day, every comp day, every personal day, every admin day, every possible holiday. I put it all together and I stretch it out. And I managed to go mid-July through till Labor Day and work every day lifeguarding in Ocean City.
That's wild.
For the past 4 years. That's counting.
Okay. So then you take working every single day, and now you're getting into competitive bodybuilding.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Jeez, well. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Tim here with the TMA Connection. It's a local podcast that focuses on people's lives, the community. Today, I got somebody that's probably a local celebrity. I'm going to say he's a local celebrity. We graduated together, Parkville, class of 1993. Go Knights. After high school, he joined the Ocean City Beach Patrol. After that, he went into the Army. And then he became a police officer. Then he went back at a later age, and he went back to the Beach Patrol at Ocean City. And if you thought that wasn't enough, he also he's the Explorer Post leader of the Explorer Post at Bel Air Police Department. He's a community liaison for the Bel Air Police Department. And then in his spare time, he's a bodybuilder. I wouldn't say professional, but a competition.
I did reach pro status. I got my pro card for the 40 and above.
Let's go. And on top of that, he just completed a full IronMan competition. So I am so excited because I like to really pick the brains of the people that are doing fascinating things in the world. So Officer Rick Krause.
What's up, Big Tim? Good to be here.
Crazy to think that 1993.
I can still remember gym class out there hanging out with you and, at the Bel Air at the Parkville High School.
I know. It's crazy. And now we're here. Amazing. So
adulting.
Yeah. Well, you've done a lot, and I just went down a whole list of things that you have, really put yourself to, attest to. Where did all this physical and mental toughness begin for you?
Well, growing up playing sports, my dad coached. I started playing Pee Wee football at 10 years old. Perry Hall Gators. Did a lot of fun stuff with that. I just fell in love with that, and then at about 14. My mom got us a membership at Bally's at White Marsh. Now it's LA Fitness, I think. And the guy who showed us around and got us our memberships for the whole family happened to be Mr. Maryland for bodybuilding. So he actually was the first person that ever trained me. So I've been lifting and working out since I was 14. And, being a skinny kid, I think I started ninth grade. I was 97 pounds.
Yeah.
Graduated at 142. Not that I got a lot bigger, but I just love fitness. And then it just never left me.
That that is amazing, man. And I didn't know that you were even lifting like that since you've been 14 years old. So I think a lot of times what happens is so many things happen before you actually get to the point where you're really achieving things, but nobody sees the years and years before that where you were training.
Yeah, just slowly but steadily. I pretty much kept that entire workout in my back pocket and branched off from there and just elaborate and just kept on making changes as I went along and implemented the diet and things like that later on. But at the beginning, it was just eat whatever. You're young. You will go to the gym every day and you work out and you learn everything. And yeah, that's where it all started.
And you probably ate a lot and didn't gain any weight with that because you weighed 97 pounds in the beginning.
No. It was tough sledding, all the way to high school football. I never made it past 140 pounds, but I played.
Okay.
And that was pretty cool.
Awesome. So you graduate high school, and how did this whole Ocean City connection come into play?
Well, for the Ocean City part, managed to graduate from high school somehow. And then my mom got a place down in Ocean City, about 104th Street. And she's like, well, let's move down there and you can come and get a summer job. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll be one of those boardwalk game guys, like, squirt the freaking thing and get the balloons popped or something like that.
Right.
We went to a convention center for the like a job expo.
Okay.
And she saw a lifeguard stand there and it said, we want to hire you. And it showed all the stuff. And she's like, well, why don't you try it for this? I was like, well, I can't do that. You got to be like a college swimmer or something. I never did swim team or anything else like that.
Right.
But I read the thing and said what you had to do: quarter-mile swim in 10 minutes and a 300-yard run in 65 seconds and a slew of other different tactics and things you had to do. And I was like, well, I guess I could do that.
Yeah.
So I trained every day for 4 months. I ran 4 miles before school, went to the gym, worked out, swam a half mile, quarter mile every other day for 4 months. And then eventually I went to the tryouts in April. Now, Go to the ocean and you feel that water in April and you tell me how much you're ready to do.
Yeah, right.
Well, I was 17, weighed 140 pounds, probably 0% body fat,
right?
Nothing to protect me. And I tested outside all day long, puked, did everything you can imagine you did. But at the end of the day, they passed, they offered me a job. And that's how my journey started with Ocean City Beach Patrol. The biggest job I've ever had. At 17 years old, you go from Burger King to Beach Patrol.
That's wild.
I can still remember $6.78 to guard the people of Ocean City in the Atlantic Ocean.
That's crazy.
We're up to $20 an hour now, so it's a little bit better.
All right. Well, that is good. Now, did you out of high school? Did you go to college right away?
Well, when I got done with high school, I was like, okay. The recruiters had talked to me in the Army. I was like, no, I'm not ready for that. Let me go I went to Essex Community College.
Okay.
I took, lifeguarding. I took triathlon training. I took speech class or something like that. And I realized that college, I wasn't really feeling it. So I called my recruiter and says, I'm going to join the Army, but let me have one more summer.
Okay.
So I can go to the Beach Patrol and do one more year.
Okay.
And then did one more year in Ocean City lifeguarding.
That would have been 94.
In 94. And then October 94, I joined the Army, and that went to a whole nother chapter.
Yeah. Well, let's get into that chapter because, so you've already started bodybuilding at the age of 14. Then you take on a very tough pursuit of being an Ocean City lifeguard. And then you're going into the Army. How did being on Beach Patrol prepare you as you maybe compare yourself to other soldiers when you join the Army, go through boot camp and all that?
Well, the Beach Patrol is paramilitary, really. We have squads, we have divisions, we have leadership, and you got a lot of responsibility on you. On an average day, lifeguarding, you've got 100 people in your ocean. I think at this point I already had 27, 28 rescues under my belt under those 2 years.
Wow.
And responded to a couple emergencies, including one guy getting hit by lightning. He did survive.
Holy smokes.
So those type of things were happening. But as far as the military,
yelling at each other in reference to the dogs barking.
as you can hear in the background, in case they need me, it's patrol activity.
Yeah, we are on call right now, folks. So if he jumps and has to go, we'll have to pick it up at another time.
Yeah, so I was prepared with, real world scenarios already, responding to emergencies, and physical activity, which I'd already been doing. The biggest thing when you go into the Army, have your cardio.
Okay.
Be ready to run, be ready to do push-ups, and mentally be put in tough situations, basically for the basic training portion of it. And I went on to become military police. So I think I was prepared, seeing about the rank structure, how things worked, and how to have, that level of responsibility. You're not a kid anymore. You're on your own. So
yeah. Good
luck.
It's amazing that a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid is put into those positions of responsibility and, pretty serious stuff. I mean, especially when you're a military police.
Yeah. Since I've been with the police department, you put that together. I've been carrying a gun and wearing a bulletproof vest for more than half my life.
Yeah.
Since I was 19.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Put it in perspective there.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So how did being in the military police kind of differ from from your role as a police officer out in the civilian world?
Well, in the military, on the bases, honestly, not much happened.
Okay.
People were pretty much under the thumb of their commanding supervisors. A lot more levels of discipline with the people within it. So honestly, I think I arrested 3 people in 5 years.
Okay.
Not much was happening. We did a lot of gate duty, a lot of ID checks, a lot of monotonous stuff. But for the most part, the commanders pretty much took care of their own and didn't really have too much on our plate. But we did practice for combat support, which was convoy security for, in a situation where you're transporting equipment or goods or weapons or anything else like that. But luckily, during my 94 to 99 stint, all the wars were done.
Yeah.
Afghanistan just got finished. And then right when I was getting out in 99, they started looking into weapons of mass destruction over in Iraq and all that.
Sure.
And by the time anything happened, I was out.
Wow.
Went to National Guard for 2 years and nothing happened. And when
Okay.
I got out of National Guard, 9/11 happened, but I was done. So I missed everything by like the skin of my teeth.
Sure.
Which would have been cool to have some action. But then again, probably good that you didn't have to deal with all that kind of stuff because I know there's a lot of guys, girls out there that go through a lot with that.
Yeah.
So give them kudos for that as well.
100%. 100%. So you did the Army for 5 years, National Guard for 2 years. You had the experience of military police. Do you come right out and join the police academy, or how did that flow into being a police officer?
Well, it was a bit of a road. Once I got out in 99, did the National Guard stuff. Then, I got a couple side jobs. I wasn't ready to make the transition fully. I applied to Baltimore City, Baltimore County, different police departments. And at the time, I was still only 24, maybe hanging out a little too much, not doing, just not ready to be a grown-up yet. So put that on the burner for a little while on the back, and I ended up working at a health club, selling memberships and helping out people, training and stuff like that.
Interesting.
But eventually in 2002, like it always comes back to finding a good woman in your life to get you squared away.
Yeah.
Met my now lovely wife, Gina,
Yeah.
and got 2 great kids out of that. And they're still rocking and rolling. Now they're all old kids now. That's crazy.
Well, how old's the youngest now?
The youngest is 17, and she's senior in high school, and
Okay.
my boy's about to turn 21. But because of that, got my head right, ready to go, and I started applying for police departments as soon as we got married back in 2004, and poof, Bel Air Police. And
so
been
you
there for
started
18
your civilian police career and are still in the Bel Air Police Department.
That's right.
For some reason, I thought you had been somewhere else, but
No, just the military police, and then to this is my first civilian police work.
yeah.
It's a whole different thing than the military police. You actually do a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure, and I'm sure you've seen a lot. What's been maybe one of the more difficult parts of your job as you see it?
Well, the bottom line with police work is, just think about this: when do we show up?
When there's an issue.
On your worst day.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're sorting it out. You're sorting through things, and you're making decisions that are changing people's lives. And whether it's good, bad, or ugly, unfortunately, as my boss says, it's part of your job.
Mm-hmm.
But fortunately in Bel Air, not too much craziness happen. I mean, I've seen my share of, dead bodies have happened, but, serious car crashes, responded to a homicide. You see things, and things do happen. It's a great town, but small things can happen here and there.
Absolutely.
But the most difficult part overall is everybody else's problems become your problems, which is fine because that's what we're here for. We respond to sort it out, keep everybody safe, and that's pretty much the big picture.
Right.
Safety, safety, safety. And after that, it is what it is.
Had you experienced anything previous in the military that, like death or dead bodies, or when you're saving people in Ocean City as a young guy, were you ever faced with that?
When I was 19, my first duty station was at Fort Carson, Colorado, and they called me. I was on duty as a military police, driving my police car, and just picture you're 19 and you get called to go to the detention center, the jail on the base.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, what's the call? And they said, you'll find out when you get there. I'm like, okay.
Oh, that's great.
So I go up, I see the jail guards that are in there, all military personnel, so a lot of young people. Mm-hmm. You're not exactly you're trained. but you're really not that knowledgeable at that point.
Sure.
You're really novice. So they sent me in there, and turns out one of the inmates had hung themselves with a combat boot shoelace from the cell window. And, I'm sure there was a whole story about why he did that. But bottom line is, I was the first responding military police officer there. And I watched as the medic team came in there, gave him a trach, and were doing CPR. There's, from the tracheotomy, when they did the compressions, you get stuff come out of his throat. So I'm exposed watching that happen. And I remember in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, that guy's gone. And I was trying to see how I felt about that. And I just kind of went with what my training was, okay, I secure the scene and nobody goes in until it's fully investigated. And I remember the lieutenant colonel, who's pretty much the big wig on base, in charge of lots of people. I told him, sir, you can't go past this point. As a 19-year-old kid telling a 25, 30-year lieutenant colonel in the Army, if anybody knew about lieutenant colonel, it doesn't get any bigger than that on a base, really.
Yeah.
That's just one short of a general, just to put that in perspective. But that was my biggest exposure to that situation. And I came out of it unscathed. And it's like, okay, well, that's how it's going to go. But I think the biggest thing about when you first start with police work and military police, I remember telling my sergeant, I was like, wow, police work is paperwork, isn't it? That's all it is. You show up, you do the fun stuff. I shouldn't say the fun stuff, but the exciting things,
Sure.
The stressful, the scary things, those moments of because everything's unknown. You never know what's in somebody's mind.
Right.
But at the end of the day, poof, that's about 2-3 hours of paperwork and all those other things that come with it. So if anybody's looking at police work, it's paperwork.
Yeah, lots of documentation and really dotting your I's, crossing
Attention
your
to
T's.
detail. That goes way back to
you,
my military days.
You go into court and, something very small could really get the case thrown out, right?
That's a good point. And when I train my junior police, which is explorers, I tell them, I was like, well, you see all that court stuff and all that? The lawyers wear fancy ties and all their education and all that good stuff. They've got one thing to deal with, your report.
Yeah.
They've got nothing else.
Yeah.
So did you do a good job or did you not? It all is hinged upon you.
Wow.
No pressure.
No pressure.
No, but yeah. And we do a lot of things with teamwork, whatever specialty we go, we pick each other's brains.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of police work.
So in these later years, you've had several years under your belt after joining the Bel Air Police Department, and you decide, hey, I want to go back to beach patrol. How old were you, and what gave you that thought to even consider going back to something that you did when you were younger at an older age?
Well, there was actually a couple times I did it. So I did it first in 93 when I was 17, and then 18. And then went off to the Army. And then when I came back in 2000, 2001, I actually did it for 2 more years.
Okay.
So I did it again when I was 24 and 25. And then decided I got to grow up and get a real job and not just work in the summertime. But the reason I came back the third time at 43 years old, so I mentor people at the high school in my junior police program, and 2 of the kids I thought were pretty athletic, and I thought, you should try out. And they did. Long story short, they made it.
Cool.
They, went down there, and we do a group photo every year. And the reason I mention that is they got me the group photo real big, and they got all the old timers to sign it. By old timers, people I worked with and still knew, and we're still with the Beach Patrol.
Wow.
So they signed it, boom, 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 thanks for changing our lives and all that stuff. I was like, you know what? I can still do this. So I, asked my chief if it's okay, to go back down there to do that from the police department, go down to Beach Patrol, and continue my pursuit of the Beach Patrol status. And went back in 2019, and ever since then, I'm still active.
That's
wild.
I
literally was on the beach guarding on Sunday.
So you got to be loving what you're doing, because you're working full time Bel Air Police Department, and then you're tacking on even more hours down at Ocean City.
Yeah, I 0 days off since Memorial Day.
Wow.
So it's either back and forth, 2.5 hour ride, and then I use all my vacation time. I'm not off.
Okay.
I don't work for the school system.
Yep.
I am every vacation day, every comp day, every personal day, every admin day, every possible holiday. I put it all together and I stretch it out. And I managed to go mid-July through till Labor Day and work every day lifeguarding in Ocean City
That's wild.
for the past 4 years.
That's
counting.
Okay. So then you take working every single day, and now you're getting into competitive bodybuilding.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Jeez, well, I mean, I know we're jumping we can only fit like your whole life into like a 30 to 45-minute podcast. So how is it balancing all your police work, all your Ocean City Beach Patrol, and now you and Gina, your wife, you kind of been doing this whole Ocean City thing together too. She's down there. I see it on Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that. Yeah. And she's super into fitness. We had her on a previous show a few years back talking about going into the holiday and what you should be doing to think about your health and stuff like that. She did a really awesome job, by the way.
Of course.
You got to look up TMA Community Spotlight and search Gina Krause. It's pretty awesome. But now you're training as a bodybuilder, and that takes a whole nother level of discipline.
Yeah, it's although when you say, I've been bodybuilding since I was 14, well, by that means the technique I was lifting. I wasn't gigantic. When you're doing natural stuff, I'm not going to speak to all that, but we know how that goes. Either way, natural bodybuilding, it's all about low body fat and being as shredded as possible. So all the lifting that you can do, the amount of cardio that you do, but it's really about what you eat. So if you're thinking you're about dipping your toe into something like this, be ready to measure everything you eat, period. Your macro counts, how much protein your day, and the carbohydrate, how many fats, what your calories are, to the point where you have to be within 10 grams of everything or less. So if you offer me a piece of gum, yeah, sure, it's not going to kill you, but that's an extra 5 calories that I didn't account for that day. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
So you had to be unbelievably strict, meal prepping and setting everything up. It's one of the hardest mentally that you can do. And the only way to do it is when you got somebody who supports you, because otherwise they're going to call you a crazy person.
Yeah.
And everybody in your family is going to say, what's wrong with you? How come you look so thin?
Yeah.
It's like, it's because I don't have any body fat.
Right.
Because you need to be as shredded as possible. It's not about size when you're doing those shows, when you're natural. It's about low body fat, the kind of stuff that a doctor would be like, you need to get some more fats on your body. I'm like, yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
But with that said, that's really that came from. As far as fitting it in, you just do it. You get up in the morning, do it.
What time are you waking up in the morning?
Oh, when you're training. When I trained for the biggest one I did was the Arnold Classic. Okay. Which I actually had online coaching by Jay Cutler, who's a former Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, huge guy.
Yeah,
and is that out in Ohio?
Right, out in Columbus, Ohio. And we went there a couple times as spectators. I actually met Arnold Schwarzenegger, shook his hand. That was pretty cool. But the year of COVID, March, is when we did it, and they didn't even let any spectators in the audience. But anyway, had trained for that. The schedule for that training was every morning I would get up at 4:30, 4:45, and do a 2-hour walk, because surprisingly, you don't want to do full cardio because you don't want to burn any muscle off. So you do walking to reduce your body fat. And then every day I would get home from work about 3:15, work out for an hour and a half, and rinse and repeat, and eat and prep. Yeah. And that was the key. The working out part, fun. Okay. The eating part, daunting task until you got used to it. And then it was still cost a lot of money because you got to prep the foods. You got to get all the chicken, the rice, the amount of chicken and rice you eat. Make your head spin. Egg whites, oatmeal, water. Oh, what else did you drink? Water.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else? Yeah, water.
Water.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
And that's tough. So the bodybuilding stuff, the shows, ultimately it comes down to a beauty contest out there. You got a judge in front of you. So, we did a couple good things and got a couple medals and some trophies. It's up on the wall. But for now. Maybe a couple years we'll take off of that.
But when you first started, I think I remember you telling me a story. Like, it wasn't the most comfortable thing for you to, that very first competition that you did. It was like you were a fish in a whole different pond.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. You got to learn how to do, once you get your diet stuff down, but then you're going out there, you're competing, how to pose, how to stand, and what to expect from everybody. Because you're an outsider. I'm some noob coming in here, middle-aged and competing against guys that are in their 20s. Still managed to do pretty good. But ultimately, it's nice to win stuff, but it's really about you against you, not to quote Rocky. But
it is true. It is true.
It is because it's like game time. You got to do it.
Yeah.
You can't punk out.
Right.
You have to follow through with everything that you do. It's mentally draining, and I can say it's tough to do if you don't have somebody else who's supporting you.
Yeah. But what a blessing it is to be able to do this with Gina.
Yeah.
Just to sharing that, like you said, it's both of you. So there's probably a little piece of accountability there too.
Yeah, she's really the brains behind it because she had all the nutrition and diet and exercise science, physiology, a bachelor's degree and all that stuff. And she'd been training. She did a competition before I did. And had a coach, and I kind of leached off of what she had with that. And, so I didn't really have to think too much.
Okay.
So with her doing that, really kept me on track.
Yeah.
Was a key. And knowing that we were both in it together. Made it easier to go out and do the shopping list. It was fun. Go out and shopping. It's really simple. Get a big giant bag of chicken. Get a big thing of rice.
Happy dinner.
Yeah. Hey.
Well, I look at sometimes when I'm lifting, because I do lift. I mean, certainly not as big as you are, but I do lift, and I sometimes tell myself, like, I'm 46, and maybe my testosterone is not as big as it was when I was in my early 20s or anything. I start making excuses for like why I'm not seeing a whole lot of change, and then I look at you and how much you've grown, and we're the same age, and it's like, okay, no excuses. You can, it's possible. You just got to figure out the science and how to apply that.
Yeah, and again, I know you say size and all that, but I'm really not as big as people would think. It's just about if you change your body composition. Like there's muscles under there shredded from working out.
Right.
You just can't see it with your body composition. And the amount of body fat you have to drop in order to see those things gives you an illusion of bigger size. Like, dude, I'm sitting here right now, 167 pounds, maybe.
Wow.
So, even when I was competing at the Arnold Classic, this sounds crazy, but I was 147 on stage.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, typically, I'm 170 pounds.
Yeah.
But to get to the point of the shreddedness that you have to deplete all of your fat. You have to deplete all of your water. You just get everything out of you that day.
Wow.
I mean, the next day I was 155. But the bottom line is you lose a lot of weight when you're going natural because there's nothing else to help you build up because you're cutting down your calories. But it's all part of it.
It's wild. Yeah. That is wild. And so now we're going to add another layer. You just competed in your first IronMan competition.
Yeah.
So for the people that don't know, what constitutes an Ironman?
Well, it's a lot. And the reason I got into it, some of my partners from Beach Patrol had done it last year, which inspired me. And of course, they're all mid-20s. One of the guys, 35, firefighter, Anne around the county. A little shout out to him. But for the most part. And I found it all ages, all body types, all genders. When I got to the Ironman, we're doing that. And I decided to do it back in January. And if you've never seen how much it costs to register for a race, you may have done a 5K, you paid $30.
Yeah.
Whatever, get a T-shirt. It was $870 just to register. So talk about committing. It's like buying a gym membership. You better go.
Yeah.
So I've been training for 9 months for this since January. Bought a bike off of Amazon. Never rode a bike more than 10 miles in my life.
Wow.
So nonetheless, it just happened last weekend. And what it is, it's 2.4 miles in the Chop Tank River in Cambridge, Maryland. So 2.4 miles, and it's right at sunrise. So I was literally, as I was breathing to my left, I could look up and see the sun rising.
Uh-huh.
So 2.4 miles later, I get out. Now you jump on your bike, put on your bike shoes, the little things that click in. I've never done that in my life, but that's all part of it. Put on my helmet, and I go, how about 112 miles and 2 laps to do 112 miles. And then when you get done with that, oh, great, good job. Now put on your running shoes.
Right.
And let's run a marathon. That's 26.2 miles.
Holy smokes.
And to put it in perspective, my last lap, and each lap was 8 miles and change, I watched the sun set. And that was pretty cool. So overall, it took me 13 hours and 27 minutes.
Oh. Is that like a super Ironman, or is that
No, that's
a regular
full
Ironman?
You got a half Ironman, which is 70.3 total. This is 140.6 total miles. And my goal was 14 hours. I did it in 13 and a half.
Jeez.
And at the end of it, I got a medal. I hugged my wife, and we got on the shuttle bus to get out of there, and I was an Ironman. So probably going to be one and done, not because I couldn't handle it, but it was a lot of training.
Yeah.
And I'm not fully like Mr. I love triathlons.
Okay.
But it was the accomplishment. And ultimately, I did find my email that shows that you are an official finisher and everything was good with the world. And I am an official Ironman now. And the next thing left to do is to get my son to tattoo it on my calf and call it a lifetime.
So Drew's going to apply the tattoo.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Good to have family that does ink.
That's right. That's right. So we've covered a lot, but what's next? It seems like you're always up for the next challenge.
That's the question. People say, like, yeah, well, what's the question? Well, I know my wife wants to do another bodybuilding show when she turns 50. We won't say how soon that is.
Okay, yeah.
And then I'll probably follow suit with her at the same time. Probably be not too far off, a couple years. But as a matter of fact, my birthday is on Saturday, and there's a Maryland triathlon going on down in Hammerman Beach, Gunpowder. And so, well, you know what? I'm trained up. I'm ready to go. Let's do that one. So I'm going to do a sprint triathlon on Sunday.
Yeah.
And after that, the big goal is continue to stay in shape and go down the beach next year and a year after that. And I'm thinking about doing the island swim, which is 9 miles of Ocean City. So that's the next goal. I think I'll do that one of my days off.
That's wild.
That should take about, let's see, 6 hours maybe, 5.5.
Or, I mean, other than starting at 14 and just always putting yourself out there like that, is there anything else that just drives you to do so many? I don't want to say wild and crazy, because to you it's not wild and crazy, but it's, I mean, it's a challenge. Like,
well, I always say and I do a little bit of personal training on the side. My wife primarily does most of that stuff, but I train people and just motivating people. I like to say to them, you're good. Oh, you're doing this, you're doing that. This is what your workout is like. Well, you could be better, right?
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
Right.
Why not be as strong as possible? You should always want to be in the best shape of your life every day, because you only got one life, you got one body.
Yeah.
And mentally it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
It's nice to look good too, right?
Sure. Sure.
So my wife says, can't keep my shirt on. So I was like, yeah, I got to take the shirt off. I'm out on the beach. It's like, whatever. It's what we do. She's like, put a shirt on. I was like,
oh, gosh. She just doesn't want to share that, good-looking
I'm
body you
all
have.
hers. I'm all hers.
That's right.
But no, the drive is just always trying to make yourself better. Push yourself.
That's awesome.
Go to the next level. Make a goal.
Yeah. So
anybody out who doesn't do fitness and stuff, and maybe like they kind of do it, they kind of make a simple goal. Like, hey, I want to run a 5K at the end of the year. Or I want to lift this much weight, or I want to lose these many pounds.
Yeah.
Well, go do it. Don't not do it.
Yeah. At least in the pursuit of it.
Find the discipline and have the desire and go for it.
Do you ever fail?
Well, with lifting, everybody fails, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I've given up on the whole idea of being a power lifter. That's not happening. But yeah, sure. You fail with that, but as far as like reaching a goal and like actually doing what you came for, you can't let yourself fail.
Yeah.
And if you do, you learn from it, and then you get to the next one, but you try harder. Make sure you accomplish those goals. Just because you can't do it the first time doesn't mean you can't do it the second time.
Yeah.
You know, just stick with it.
It's not failure, and but when you learn from it.
And ask for help.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, let's wrap this up. Got a few follow-up lightning round questions for you.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Here we go. Lightning.
Do you read it all?
When necessary.
Well, I was going to say, when do you have the time to
read? The last book I read, and we were just talking about it because my wife, I think she read like 100 books over the summer. I was laughing. I think the last book I read, like The Mouse on the Motorcycle.
That's like Beverly Cleary, I think.
I was like third grade.
Okay.
No, but actually the last book I read was the Modern Encyclopedia of a Bodybuilder by Arnold Schwarzenegger, which was like 750 pages.
Wow.
Those are all pictures, no pop-ups.
Uh-huh.
That would be scary. But I did read that entire thing, and that took me a long time.
Okay.
But no, I'm not much of a reader.
Okay, that's
It's
all right.
Either
do you listen to any podcasts?
Just yours.
Oh,
yours
God.
is the coolest one.
You're so awesome. Wow, that's a nice plug. Like, subscribe. Okay. You and Gina, you're going to go out on a date tonight. Where are you going to go? Where'd you guys go out to dinner if you're not training with your macros?
We're going to go to Bonefish.
Bonefish Grill.
Yeah, Bonefish. Yeah. We'll get the bang bang shrimp, and she'll probably get the salmon with the mixed rice and the stuff. We'll have plenty of bread. I'll be like, yeah, let's send some more bread over to the table here.
Uh-huh.
And there will be steak and crab cakes, and she'll have the salmon and the mixed vegetables or something like that.
Yeah.
Caesar salad.
Okay.
And there will be dessert, some kind of lava chocolate something.
Yeah.
2 big coffees, and that'll be our wild night, and it'll probably be capped off at about 7 o'clock.
Well, you certainly need recovery and rest, so I'm sure you're going to sleep quite a bit.
Yeah, and then home to watch the ID Discovery Channel about
okay,
crime stories, and I'll just roll my eyes, and she'll love it.
Yeah, so you don't get enough of that, right? If everything that you've done was taken away except for one job,
Beach Patrol. Sorry, Chief. I do love the police department. I do love mentoring the kids at the high school and around town with my junior police program. That is one of my huge passions.
Yes.
That would be a tough one because I really, really love that. And that's been 13 of my 18 years doing that.
Yeah.
A lot of those kids have moved on to different jobs with the police department, corrections, the military, or just overall become great citizens.
Uh-huh.
But as far as like passion, like the tattoo I'm going to get, it's going to be the Beach Patrol emblem as well.
That's awesome.
Because that's where it all started, and that's what's in my heart, my passion. But of course, my police job, I love it too.
Absolutely.
I love helping, and I like to make the difference in the school because I'm at the Bel Air High School as a school resource officer.
Mm-hmm.
Great staff, of course. That's where we got back together when you were a teacher over there as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Bringing the noise over there.
Bringing the noise.
Yes, really motivating.
Yeah. Well, Rick, I want to acknowledge you, brother, because over this course of this past year, I've really tried to focus on my discipline, my mindset, and things that I'm doing. But to be somebody who is seeking the uncomfortable to ultimately grow themselves and continue to be the best that you can be on a daily basis is just a phenomenal inspiration. And, looking at this podcast and the people that I'm trying to bring on here is the people that are not just good, decent people, but people that are exceptional, people that are going above and beyond. And that's not just the weightlifting. It's the relationships that you have built at the high school with the kids, the Explorer program, community events. I mean, you are kind of like a local celebrity, and you're just a man of character, and your wife is amazing. I can't say enough good things about you, brother.
Well, I appreciate that, man. It's always good to have nice things said from a good friend as well, and I respect you too, man. You were a pillar at that school, and every kid just loved everything about you and your personality. And then you moving on over here with your charisma and your style, and doing good things here with the real estate program. And I'm pumped. And your kids are freaking awesome. Your wife, I love her too.
Yeah.
So lots of positivity there, and giving people opportunities, and heck, small world too, being that your dad as a police officer worked with my dad.
I know.
As a police officer back in Baltimore City.
I was thinking of that story when you fell out of your window when you were like 5 or 6 years old, and my dad escorted your dad home, to make sure that he could get there without any issues.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And my dad asked me what happened. I was like, I fell out the window like a dummy. And it's like, that was a heck of a day.
Well, where can people connect with you if they want more information about any of the things that we talked about today?
Well, I'm not on any social media at this point.
No? You used to be.
I was. But maybe I'll rekindle that again. Just wanted to, keep my training. Honestly, sometimes I can text out the stuff to the people that are really specifically in my life.
Yeah.
And if people are interested, they'll ask me and I'll tell them all about it.
Yeah, but you're such an inspiration, man. I feel like not sharing that is a disservice to other people that could really, learn something from it.
I am thinking about doing that. There's a couple teachers, real quick. I can tell you that one specifically, I won't say their name because, whatever, but
yeah,
they got into biking huge, after seeing all the routes that I was doing.
Yeah.
So he hadn't biked for 15 years and now he's doing 20, 30 miles, lost a bunch of weight.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
And he is awesome. I've been pretty much his, on loan coach and helping him out, motivating him. So I'm pumped about that. And other people say, oh, well, I started doing this because of what you said. I was like, hey, man, that's awesome.
That is.
A kid I talked to yesterday, my neighbor, he's like, man, you told me to eat protein and green, and I lost 50 pounds in, 7 months.
Isn't that awesome?
It's like, dude, keep it up.
Yeah. That's the thing I miss the most about teaching is teaching like weight training and or just kids that were, overweight in high school, and then they see a few years later and they're just super healthy, and it's like and they attribute something that I either said or did or whatever. And that's just the number one thing about teaching is how you see you made that difference in the future, Yeah,
it's a great platform we have, working with the youth, look up to us, and, you take that and either they love you or they hate you as a teacher or a police officer. You try to do the best things you can, and the positivity, that's key.
Yeah. Well, you're doing phenomenal in every role that you've done. Last question. At the end of every show, we like to give the guests an opportunity to pay tribute to somebody who's made a difference in their journey.
This is easy.
This is easy?
This is easy.
Don't say me.
No.
Okay, good,
no.
good. I know you said drop the podcast, but okay. Who would you like to pay tribute to today, and why?
Well, my wife. She. You got me here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you got me. I do cry, folks. Trust me, I'm emotional. But she's been with me through everything, and because of her making me more of a let's see, growing mentally and maturity, and we were together, and we're getting married and having the kids together, and she's just been rock steady. Like, I come home, it's all taken care of. I talk with her, it's all taken care of. Anything we got going on. Like, when I did the competition recently, she's like, I had to go do a check-in, for instance, small example, and without her brains and tactics and ability to organize things and keep me on track and just everything, her strength. And, nope, don't mess with her. She's hardcore.
Yeah, she is.
But that's the reason why I was able to become a police officer and do all the things that I'm doing, because of her support and showing me. And, now I'm still a goofball, but she keeps me on track.
Yeah.
And without that inspiration and her love.
Yeah. She's an amazing woman. Gina Krause.
Yeah, boom.
You've raised a good husband.
That's Ms. Fit.
Ms. Fit
and
on Instagram, right?
I'm known as Fit Rick.
Fit Rick.
And then my lieutenant from the beach patrol nicknamed her Ms. Fit.
That's funny.
So she kind of went with that one.
Yeah.
But other than that, I love cats. I love my son Drew and my daughter Olivia, and together we are loving family and living the dream.
Brother, thank you so much for joining us. Guys, if you have liked this episode, please
flex,
thumbs
up,
put the muscle,
big smile.
There you go.
Yeah, my emojis the go-to is the sunglasses, the wave, and the muscle.
Yeah.
So if you ever got a text, you've seen it.
And in this community, the GOAT.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. But please subscribe on YouTube or anywhere you download your podcast. And again, Officer Rick Krause, thank you so much. Until next time, folks, live your life to the fullest, and we'll see you soon. Take care.